Hey lovelies, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Omotola. I'm welcoming you back to the channel. Please consider subscribing if this is your first time, and turn on your post notifications. That way you get notified every single time I upload a new video, which is at least once every week. Alright, so today's content today is going to be a continuation in the series for my Japa realities. I have created a playlist for this, so just in case you want to see how other people's experiences have been coming into the UK, please do also check on that playlist. I will link it up somewhere in the cards here and also in the description box below. Alright, so today's video is going to be a personal story. Well, almost personal, because I know this person personally and this nearly happened to her just a few months of getting into the UK. Alright, so from the caption of the video, you already know that this is about childcare, and this is something that the UK takes very seriously. And I'll tell you how easy it was for to almost lose her child just a few months of coming into the UK. Alright, so this started out as something very innocent, just like normal. Her child went to school, and she has two children, by the way, two boys. So there's one who's around 3 years old, and the other one's a lot older, so he's in a different class. So this 3-year-old went to class one day, and just random conversations in the classroom. So the teacher just asked the 3-year-old, oh, well, it wasn't a pointed question really. I think it was a question for the whole class. So they're just going around in circles and just asking, oh, what makes you sad? And then this 3-year-old just said, I'm always happy. Children can be brutally honest, and they don't even know, the impact of what they're saying. And then he just goes, oh, I'm always happy, but anytime I'm sad, it's because my dad takes the tablet from me, or my dad spanks me and takes the tablet from me. That was the genesis of the whole wahala. Like, from that one statement, the teachers took it up. They went from just taking that statement from that child, and they decided to start a chain of events that nearly led down a very horrible path. So one thing that they did was, after they left that boy's class, they went to his elder brother's class to ask them if indeed their father spanks them. Now, this is something that you might not even see coming, because so anyway, they went to the elder brother's class and decided asking him pointed questions as well. But that one being smart enough, he kind of just made it clear to the teachers or whoever was asking him that, whenever we have a disagreement over whose tablets to, watch, or, what kind of game or movies or series or cartoon to watch, my father usually intervenes. So that was how the whole matter was quelled at that level, because it still went further. From that time to the time when the parents came to pick them up, I'm sure there must have been some deliberations and, just talks among themselves on what their next line of action would be. And, as soon as the mother got there to pick the child up from school, they made it known to the mother that, okay, your child has just made it known to us that, he has been spanked at home, and, we're taking this further. This has to go to child services, and then they will be able to advise you on what to do next. I mean, hearing that from just going to pick up your child like normal, it was disorienting for the mother, and she was even at the point she could not even comprehend what they were saying, because everything they were saying was just flying off the top of her head. Because when you're hearing child services, and this is something that she actually told them, she said she has heard about child services from Nigeria where she was coming, and she was already aware that these things happen and people take child services take children away from their parents, and she never thought it would happen to her. So that was what she was stuck on. Everything else they were saying was just flying over her head. So at some point, they had to calm her down and say, no, that's not what's going to happen. I mean, at this point, she was already in her head. It was almost concluded that they've taken the child from her, like this is the chain of events that will lead to that path, and she was already disoriented. So she had started telling them that they should please not take it further. This is not what it means, that he's just a 3-year-old boy. How can you take him seriously? She had already started to make a case, but then these people were like, no, we're sorry, we've already escalated the matter, it's already with child services, and they will be in contact with you on the next line of action, and what. And they went on, and this man was not hearing anything. She was pleading with them like, you don't need to do this. So while the woman was there and trying to plead her case and everything, they had to call child services, because they could see that she was already getting affected by what they were saying. So they called child services on the phone and they handed her the phone and then they were like, oh, okay, what's going to happen now is the child can go home with you. We are not necessarily taking the child now, but then there will be a follow-up. We'll send someone out to see you, check on the child, probably in your home and something like that. And the woman was like, there's no need. They were like, no, 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 that this is the chain of events have started and this is what we have to do to see it through. This woman was not hearing anything because, you know, when you are face to face with your worst nightmare, it could be very disorienting. So that's what this woman was facing at this point. So while they were in the office, they also asked the mother if they could examine the child's body to see if there are any marks or, you know, to see if there's any bruises on his body to show that this child has been spanked. So they took permission from the mother and then they proceeded to inspect the child, and then they saw one mark on the child and you were like, no, that was from a fall some time ago. They're like, oh, it looks like this was spanking. So it wasn't looking good at all. So they also wrote that down and sent it to the social worker. And from there, you know, the mother was already disoriented. Like, she was not hearing one word. She was just hearing all the things they have against them and she was panicking, like seriously, legit panicking. So she went home, had this conversation with her husband, and by the next day, oh no, while they were still there, they were asking her because they could see that she wasn't responding to their conversations or maybe their questions or whatever. And then they were asking her if she wanted an interpreter, and she was like, she would prefer to have an interpreter because nothing was penetrating her head. The only thing she was hearing was child services. And what the child services do, they take children. So that's all she was hearing. So eventually she came back the next day with her husband, and then, you know, he made it clear to them that this is not something that he does. They told them that, you know, the matter is already with child services and they're going to see it through. They're going to get someone to come out to their apartment and then check on the child. Now, we know that for everybody coming into the UK, if your child is below a certain year, I think it's about 2 or 3 years, you always get a health visitor to come in and check on the child. They'll go around your house and make sure that, you know, all your hazardous liquids and cleaning agents are kept safe. Your medicine cabinet is secure. The child has a good sleeping area, has toys. They'll check the weight, check the height, you know, just do general body checkup, try to check their motor skills, and, you know, just ask about their diet and things like that, if they have allergies and things like that. So this is something that is standard, typical in the UK. So they've already had that health visitor come to look for them before. So after this particular issue, they sent a social worker to the house and 2 of them came. So there was 2 health workers in the house and they came to check up on them. They moved around the house. Obviously, they're going to check every single area, check if the children have toys to play with. So there was really nothing to see. The children were in high spirits. Everybody was at home. I think her husband was also at home at the time. And everybody was at home. They were just playing. It was like a normal, random, typical African family playing and interacting with themselves. All right, so after they had inspected the home and, you know, they had seen everywhere, they now asked the mother and father to please excuse them and they want to talk to the children. Now, naturally, you will know that it's not just talking. Like, they want to kind of fact find. They want to get information from these children to see if their father actually beats them. So they started asking questions. They told the parents to please excuse them. In my own opinion, I know that is illegal because you cannot interact or have a conversation with a minor without their legal representation in the room, either their parents or their lawyers. It's illegal. You can't ask the parents to leave the room while you talk to the parents. You can ask them to be quiet, but they have to be in that room. It's illegal. So they asked them to go out of the room and please give them some time to talk with the children. So they started their conversations, they started talking, and then the parents were listening from outside. And then this child was just saying, no, my parents don't beat me, they don't spank. It's just that every time we have a disagreement or a quarrel or you know, a disagreement on what kind of cartoon or what kind of game to play on the tablets, my father always intervenes. Like, nobody beats us. And he said it repeatedly. Like, a father could hear it from the back of the door. Like, they just kept asking pointed questions, but these children were like, no, 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 they don't beat us, they don't spank us. At the end of the day, they had to let these children go because they couldn't find anything, they couldn't make anything stick. So that was how, you know, they came out and told the parents, okay, so the children have said nothing. The only thing we have to say is that maybe the children should have their own separate beds. And the parents were like, you don't know these children like we know them. They can't sleep apart. Like, they always have to be in the same space. They have to be on the same bed. They always curl up and sleep next to each other. Like, they can't sleep without the other one. So they have to, yeah, we just have to maintain that. And they're like, okay, there's really nothing more to say. Would you like us to come back and visit? Would you like us to put you on a list to get supplies for food, for toys and things like that? The father was like, at this point, the father had it. So it was like, no, I don't want anything from you. I can provide for my children. That's why I brought them here. That's why I didn't leave them back home. I would like for every visit and every visitation to stop. You have found nothing. This is a traumatizing event for not just my children. My wife is also disoriented because you have caused silence of mental stress and distress. I would like this to stop now. I don't want any more visits. You can take us off every list. We don't need anything from you. And they were like, okay, no problem. That's fine. We have concluded the investigation. There's no cause for concern. The mark on the child's body does not indicate any sign of abuse or whatever. And, you know, we're fine. We're fine to say that these children are well cared for, they're in a loving environment, and, you know, all that English. So as the child services were leaving, they also made a note to mention that, you know, coming from an African background, you know, trying to say it on a lighter note, that coming from an African background, they understand that, you know, there might be cultural differences, and, you know, in the place where you would naturally want to spank a child, it's better to look for alternate ways to correct them and, you know, just instill discipline. They were just trying to tell them, okay, there's a cultural difference here, and if you are looking to instill discipline or to correct your children, please look for alternate ways. It's called gentle parenting here or something like that. So that was how, you know, they were able to scale through that particular event. And then I remember that, you know, during the course of the back and forth of getting the social worker to come see them, one of the teachers was like saying, like, madam, you don't have a problem. You don't need to worry about it. It's your husband. And in my head, I'm like, please, are they thinking that we can function without our full family intact? Like, why are they saying it's your husband? Well, let's just thank God, because this sister friend of mine did not lose her children, and, you know, she was able to sort this thing out, and, you know, that was just how it is. So now going forward, one of the things that she decided to implement in the house was to ban every word that has to do with beating, spanking, or whatever. Don't say you're going to hit anybody. We don't use that word in this house, so that you don't go and use it in school. So she was just making it stick mentally in their heads to say that don't say words like this, that it could be construed in a different way. So please, African parents in the diaspora, let's learn to choose our words with caution. Let's not say things that will come off as being violent, because these things can be taken, and when the children say it out in public, some people can take it up and just escalate it, and this could just start a chain of events that will lead down a very sad and cold path for everybody. So please, let's be very selective with our words. If you are still spanking your children in the UK, please repent, and I hope you find better ways to parent your children in a way that you can raise them, be able to find better ways to discipline your children, find ways to, you know, instruct them and instill discipline in them without having to spank or being verbally abusive, because things like that, people have lost their children for way less than that. So yeah, that is it for our time here today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please do want to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you found anything of value in it, please do want to give it a huge thumbs up. It does a lot to help my analytics and get other people to see this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.